Yo, what's going on, y'all? This is Marcus Rosa, aka Mazuma TV, back at y'all with some more boxing talk, man. I hope everybody's having a blessed, beautiful, positive, productive night. I hope you had a great day overall, man. I'm back at y'all with some more boxing talk. We're going to be speaking about Keyshawn Davis versus Nahir Albright, struggling to sell. We're going to be talking about Vasiliy Lomachenko announcing his comeback into the sport of boxing after a short retirement period. Then we're going to get into some open boxing topics. But before we get into all of that, if y'all could please hit the like button on the way in, that'd be very much appreciated. We on the road to 4K. We well into the, what is that, the 3,500 mark? Where we at, man? I'm tired, man. I ain't gonna lie. My memory a little 3,500 mark, looking to crack that 3,600 mark in due time. Shout out to the nation and the mob for making this possible. What's going on? What's going on, y'all? As soon as y'all come on in, y'all go ahead and hit that like button. It don't cost you nothing to show a nigga some love, man. Shout out to my boy Slime in the building. What up? Josue Hernandez, what up, brother? He said, how my day been? It's been regular shit, bro. You know what I mean? Last night I ain't go live. You know what I mean? It wasn't really much to talk about, to be honest with you. So went to sleep early, went to work, did what I needed to do. You know, it's fight week. You know what I'm saying? Boxing Under the Skylight 15 is going down May 16th at Pivot Boxing Academy, 2807 North 6th Street, Philadelphia, PA 19133, man. Come stop by. I mean, we got all of our VIP tickets is sold out. You know what I mean? So we have general admission tickets. That's not a bad seat in the house, to be honest with you. General admission tickets, $30, man. Come by, support the local talent, you know what I mean, in and around the tri-state area. You know what I'm saying? So I got a kid by the name 6'5" middleweight by the name of Rashid Alexander. He's going to be making his debut. Joshua Ramos is back. We're going to have Derek the Maestro Moore having his last amateur fight before turning professional. We got Hashim Hassan, who's one of the subscribers of the channel from the UK. He's going to be having his first fight in the US. You know what I'm saying? We were able to bring him over from the UK to get a fight, man. Who you know that do this shit, man? We had the Haneys the last time. We had Sean Haney, Bill Haney in the building. We brought them over to the trenches. Now we got my boy Hashim Hassan, who's going to be making his pro debut soon as well, having his first fight in the U.S. Yes, 6'5", Josue. 6'5". And he switched. Orthodox, southpaw. You know what I mean? He could fight on the inside. He could box you. Good movement, man. I'm really excited to see this kid's progression and, you know, officially become an amateur boxer. Anthony Kirkula Jr., you know what I mean? One of the most rugged, tough fighters that I've ever come across. I mean, he's having his third amateur fight. What else? Who else? Am I missing anybody? David Jacobs. You know, he about to go ahead and avenge some BS loss that they fucking gave him. Complete robbery. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna avenge, or we definitely gonna avenge that loss. Who else? We got so many people fighting. And of course we got all of the smaller kids that my dad trains, Michaela Donahue. We got a whole bunch going on, man. You know what I mean? So if y'all in or around the area, y'all want to see, you know, a great display of amateur boxing, come through, man. Come through, show love. You know what I mean? If y'all from the channel, let me know. Ain't nothing to show a motherfucker some love. You feel me? Shout out to my boy Bethan, you in the building. What up? My boy Slime said, not gonna lie, I don't really care for Loma coming back. No BS. I mean, look, man, you know, Loma's a legend at the end of the day, one of the greatest, if not the greatest amateur of all time. You know what I mean? 3-division world champion. He's done some great shit in the sport of boxing, but, you know, his buzz did, you know, die down a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? I think even prior to him defeating George Kambosos, it's like when he lost to Devin Haney, it seemed like Vasiliy Lomachenko lost all hope in boxing. It looked like he lost motivation. It looked like he was just mentally defeated. It looked like he was drained. You know what I'm saying? And we got to understand that Vasiliy Lomachenko been boxing for a long time, had around 400 amateur fights. You know what I mean? Had all of these, you know, he didn't have that many fights as a professional, but a lot of them were tough fights. You know, he had injuries, grueling training camps, I'm assuming. So, you know, just based off of all of that, Vasiliy Lomachenko probably felt like he needed a break. You know what I'm saying? He probably felt like he needed a break, that he just wanted to focus on him and his family. You know, there's an ongoing issue in Ukraine right now. We ain't got to dive too much into that. So maybe Vasiliy Lomachenko was overwhelmed and probably felt like he needed to take a step back for a while. But Vasiliy Lomachenko, we don't know exactly what he has left, but he did look good in that fight against George Kambosos, stopped him. You know what I'm saying? And I still think he could bring something to the sport. He could probably get some exciting fights going at 135. Maybe considering the fact that he's coming back, maybe we could revisit that Gervonta Davis fight whenever he feels like coming back. Shakur Stevenson, maybe that's a big fight. Maybe Andy Cruz could possibly avenge a loss for his Cuban brother Guillermo Rigondeaux. Andy Cruz versus Vasiliy Lomachenko would be a good fight. Assuming that he beats Albert Bell. It's a lot. Vasiliy Lomachenko can still be a part of some big fights. And I'm not gonna lie, I thought that Lomachenko was done. I thought Lomachenko was done, to be honest with you. I didn't think he was gonna come back. I thought when he was done, I thought when he said he was done, that we would just go ahead and move on. You know what I'm saying? But according to the Ring magazine, Vasiliy Lomachenko is coming out of retirement and is targeting a return in the fall of this year. So he's not coming back anytime soon, basically. Well, at least within the next, 4 to 5 months, he should be back, according to Ring magazine. Says Lomachenko's contract with Top Rank expires today, and now he's a promotional free agent seeking the biggest fights possible. Now, reading that last part right there was very telling to me, at least, because Lomachenko's contract with Top Rank expires today, May 5th of 2026. And they announced that he's coming out of retirement May 12th of 2026. So with that being taken into consideration, did Vasiliy Lomachenko retire because he no longer wanted to be part of boxing? Or did he put on this front of retiring due to the fact that he no longer wanted to be involved with Top Rank from a promotional standpoint? Very interesting. The timing on both of these things is, it could be looked at as coincidental, but most times I don't believe in coincidences, and I think this is one of them. Vasiliy Lomachenko, he put on this perception, at least, that, after the George Kambosos fight, that he no longer wanted to box. He was done with the sport and stuff like that. So that made me feel like he was just burnt out and he just didn't really want to deal with what the game comes with anymore. But considering the fact that Vasiliy Lomachenko is publicly, I mean, he didn't state it publicly, but obviously he's giving information to somebody. The fact that he intends on coming back or announcing that he's coming back the same day that he's done his contract with Top Rank, that makes me feel like this was something that was premeditated. You know what I'm saying? Because one thing about them fighters, they know their contracts, they know when they know what their contracts expire, and especially when they, higher level fighters that have a couple dollars or whatever, they have lawyers pretty much telling them what the contract comes to, you know what I'm saying, when it expires, what they could, how many fights they got left on their contract, and things of that nature. So what that makes me feel like is, he probably wanted to continue boxing, but he no longer wanted to deal with Top Rank from a promotional aspect, which was kind of strange to me because it always looked like Top Rank took care of Vasiliy Lomachenko really well. They got him a lot of big fights. He was in a lot of prestigious opportunities, man. It seemed like all they cared about was Vasiliy Lomachenko at one point in time. Top Rank praised him like no other. So to see, Vasiliy Lomachenko, step back and then come back around when his contract is about to expire, that does look kind of strange. You know what I mean? So hopefully whenever Vasiliy Lomachenko does an interview, he can explain that whole situation. Did you retire blatantly just so you could get out of this contract? Did you not want anything to do with boxing, but, I guess you started to miss the sport, or you started getting that itch, and it just so happened to be around the time that your contract with Top Rank expires? I don't know, man. I feel like that's definitely something that needs to be asked because, the timing on this situation is a bit shaky to me. Let me see. What are you talking about? You said they gave him a win when he really lost. Fuck him. You must be talking about the Jermaine Ortiz situation. My boy Outer Pal said my fam spar Loma only when they hang in sparring. Everyone needs breaks. I mean, yeah, man. Vasiliy And, Vasil up there in age, too. You know what I'm saying? From what I understand, Lomachenko got to be in his late 30s. He got to be like 38 years old, 39 years old. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he's 38. Just turned 38 in February. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, he only had 21 fights, but you want to add on, him boxing for as long as he's been boxing and having around 400 amateur fights. That's a lot of wear and tear, man. And when you in the amateurs, bro, you ain't taking no breaks. You constantly in the gym training. Loma, he piled up some injuries in the process of all of that. Like I remember him, having a few injuries, a little bumps, a little bruises and shit like that. So, it's going to be interesting to see exactly what Vasiliy Lomachenko does because, in the later parts of this, tweet right here, it says he's seeking the biggest fights possible. What are the biggest fights possible for Vasiliy Lomachenko? Because let's keep it real. I've seen Slime bring up fighting Shakur at 140 pounds. I don't see Lomachenko going to 140 pounds, man. He already looked bloated at 135 pounds. Vasiliy Lomachenko is a really small dude, man. This is somebody who started as low as 126 pounds. You know what I mean? But he wasn't even like a big 126 being there. I feel like Vasiliy Lomachenko was only able to thrive at 35 just based off of his skill set. I mean, not because, he was a big 135 or anything like that. You know what I mean? He was just able to beat these guys with the skill set and the experience that he had overall. So, I guess Vasiliy Lomachenko will return at 135 pounds. If so, I know a Shakur Stevenson fight will be huge at 135. A Gervonta Davis fight will be huge at 135. Any of the champions at 135, to be honest with you. That's a good one right there. Anonymous said Gary Russell. Yeah, Gary Russell, Mr. Gary Russell Jr., not Antoine, for those of y'all who get confused with the names. We're talking about Mr. Gary Russell, the one that, was a world champion, and with the WBC at 126 pounds. Vasiliy Lomachenko had beat him, early on in his career. I mean, it was definitely a good scrap, a solid competitive fight overall. But, since then, Gary Russell has gotten older, Vasiliy Lomachenko has gotten older. And they just so happen to both be at 135 pounds, from what I understand. So, yeah, that'll definitely be a great fight. That'd be a great rematch. It'll be interesting to see who's aged better. Is it Gary Russell who's been fighting once a year or, taking multi-year layoffs? Or is it Vasiliy Lomachenko who, has been pretty active, but, it's coming off of a career-long layoff, from what I understand. Vasiliy Lomachenko has been out for a minute now. When was the last time Lomachenko? I know. Obviously, he fought George Kambosos, but when was that? Yeah, that was 2024. He took all of 2025 off, and ironically, the last time he fought was exactly 2 years ago today. His last fight was George Kambosos, and that was May 12th of 2024. So that's so crazy. So I guess when he fought George Kambosos, he had 2 years left on his contract. So he blatantly sat out for 2 years exactly, and then announced his comeback to boxing. Very, very strange. Very strange. Y'all peep that shit, y'all. He fought George Kambosos May 12th of 2024. Hasn't fought since then. Then comes back May 12th of 2026 and is like, yo, I'm returning to boxing. And it just so happens my contract with Top Rank expires, so I'll be a promotional free agent, and I'm looking for all the biggest and best fights. Looked like it was premeditated to me, man. Looks very premeditated to me. But anyways, Gary Russell will be a good fight. I'm not gonna say a big fight, but it'll be a good fight for Vasiliy Lomachenko. The question is whether Vasiliy Lomachenko deems that to be a big fight, because if we listen to the way he's saying, he's seeking the biggest fights possible. Is Gary Russell Jr. the biggest fight possible? I don't know. I think it'll be a good fight that a lot of hardcore boxing fans will talk about. But I don't think Vasiliy Lomachenko is catering to the hardcore boxing fan at this point in time. I think he's looking for what is going to attract both the casual and the hardcore boxer fan. So with that being said, I feel like his biggest fights would be Shakur Stevenson or Gervonta Davis. Um, will Gervonta Davis still be interested in fighting Vasiliy Lomachenko like he did previously? It's a good question. Because when Tank seen that Loma was no longer interested, or at least he was on the decline, or whatever the case is, he was trying to make a fight happen with him when he had ducked Vasiliy Lomachenko notoriously for years at 130 pounds. Will Tank be willing to revisit that? Because we've been hearing, Gervonta Davis is looking to rematch Isaac Cruz in a comeback fight. I would much rather see you fight Vasiliy Lomachenko, for the first time than fight Isaac Cruz for the second time. I don't even understand why, Tank is even considering giving Isaac Cruz a rematch. The first fight, he outboxed him so easy. Isaac Cruz, they were just giving him props because he didn't get knocked out. That's really what got Isaac Cruz on the map. And then when he won that world title against Rolly, it was up from there. Besides that, man, Isaac Cruz got absolutely smoked by Gervonta Davis. And Gervonta had one hand. See what the people talking about. Nathaniel says, I think Tank would fight him due to Loma being older now and out of the ring. Possible. Out of Power said, don't think it'd be Tank neither. Think Zuffa will pick him up. Why are you assuming that Loma just going to sign with Zuffa? Whoa. Just because Zuffa's like this up-and-coming company right now and they got a couple dollars, don't automatically assume because somebody's a promotional free agent that they just going to jump to Zuffa. I guess, no, that's not what it is, bro. That's not always the case. I know Zuffa got a lot of eyes on it, a lot of attention right now, but there's still a lot of great promoters out here that Vasiliy Lomachenko could sign with. He could sign with a Frank Warren. He could sign with an Oscar De La Hoya. Do I think that happens? No. But, he could sign with an Eddie Hearn. Zuffa still hasn't really gotten all of the big signings yet, from what I understand. So, I think we got to pump our brakes on Zuffa just a little bit. Oh boy, Tricks in the building. What's going on, brother? He said you think Tank will want a tune-up fight first coming off of a draw. I don't know. I really don't know. What I've been hearing, the only thing I've been hearing is Isaac Cruz. Now, is Isaac Cruz a tune-up? The way it looked in the first fight, possibly. Some people may not think so. Because Isaac Cruz, can be looked at as dangerous in certain aspects, but maybe Isaac Cruz is the tune-up fight. What the fuck could Isaac Cruz do to Tank? Tank boxed the shit out of this nigga. With one hand. Isaac Cruz can't do nothing with him. Tank's feet was too fast. His hands was too fast. His timing was too good. He did whatever he wanted to do with Isaac. Only thing he wasn't able to do is knock him out. My boy Slime said we almost at 4K mark. My nigga Mark. Wait, what? Keep evolving like a Pokemon. Well, we getting bigger. We getting bigger and better every day, man. It's thanks to y'all though. It don't happen without y'all. Slime said you really need a tune-up for a guy who hasn't fought in 2 years. I would hope not. But Tank is coming off of a layoff, not like Lomachenko, but he hasn't fought since March of last year, from what I understand. So he coming off of a layoff himself, but Vasiliy Lomachenko literally has double the layoff that Tank currently has. So With that being said, if he were to jump right back in the Vasiliy Lomachenko fight, Lomachenko is the one who's at a disadvantage from an activity standpoint. So why not? Why not go into that Vasiliy Lomachenko fight? And he's 38 years old. And Loma's clearly on the decline, in my opinion. I never felt like 135 was Loma's best weight anyway. 126 Loma, 130 Loma, that was peak Loma in my opinion. Once he got to 35, it was like still good. Still could beat some credible guys, but nah. Maybe bite him, pull a Tyson. What? Nah, man. Isak can't do anything with Tank, bro. That's easy work. Respectfully, like this time around, Tank probably knocked Isak out. Your boy Lomachenko is back. Mazuma teach Loma was never my boy. Not because he wasn't a good fighter, because obviously he was. I just couldn't stand his fans. And when ESPN was doing that nasty ass like propaganda that the propaganda they was putting out there in the open, man. Loma pound for pound #1 over Andre Ward and fucking Terrence Crawford. Like I remember that shit, bro. Shit was really disgusting. Really disgusting. But we all knew what it was. Loma was a top pound for pound fighter, but definitely was not #1. At least not in my opinion. But yeah, just based off of that whole situation, I was never too fond of Loma. And I ain't gonna lie, I was rooting for Tio to beat him. Mind you, this was a focused Teofimo Lopez, a well-spoken Teofimo Lopez who did not show to be a racist at that time. So I was rooting for him. I wanted the young boy to pull it off, and he did. He did. So gotta give him credit for that. His fan base was hella annoying. Bob Arum used to piss me off when it came to Loma. He's the greatest fighter I had since Muhammad Ali. Like, man, you said the same shit about Floyd. You said that shit about a lot of motherfuckers, bro. Bob Arum used to have the same playbook. Whenever he was high on a fighter, he's the best fighter I had since Muhammad Ali. Like, man, cut it out, bro. Cut it out. Nobody trying to hear that shit. Talking about the nigga who lost his second pro fight. That's the best fighter you had since Muhammad Ali. Stop it. You think Shakur might like this? I mean, Shakur been wanting that fight. And at the end of the day, I wouldn't doubt that Shakur would fight him because, for one, Shakur trying to get names on his resume. That's really what he's lacking at this point in his career. So if he could go ahead and lock in a Vasiliy Lomachenko fight, that's a good little resume to add to your list. And, although some people may remember it as being like a washed up Vasiliy, still Vasiliy. Not everybody's going to remember the context behind the fight. So that's a good fight for the history books for Shakur. If it's, possible, if he's able to put that together. You know what I mean? So we'll see exactly what's going on with Loma, man. I ain't gonna lie, like I didn't expect him to come back. It's not like we missed him or anything like that. Just being honest. But he did bring some excitement to the game, and I think that Vasiliy could give us a couple more good fights before it's all said and done. But what that lets me know is based off, he's only seeking the biggest fights. Like Loma's coming back, but he's not going to be here for a long time. You know what I mean? This don't sound like a motivated Loma. This sound like let's get to the, let's get to the smoke, the real smoke, not the regular shit. I only want the big dogs. Don't put me in there with nothing else than the big dogs. So, we'll see. He looked good at his last fight too. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it was George Kambosos. But all in all, Loma did look good. He stopped him. Good punch placement to the body. Broke George Kambosos with that. You know what I mean? It was a good performance. It was solid. Loma versus Keyshawn, I doubt it. Especially since Loma a promotional free agent. Top Rank gonna be pissed about that shit. Good luck trying to get one of their top ranked fighters. But Keyshawn a little too big for Loma, man. And the way that Keyshawn been sitting down on his punches and placing his punches, he might hurt Loma, man. And Loma don't like it to the body neither. So yeah, I don't think that'll be a good matchup for him at this point in his career. But speaking of Keyshawn, perfect segue, man. I ain't gonna be on here too long holding y'all up. I've been reading some shit on the socials, man, and I don't know what the reality is because, as a matter of fact, I could easily find this out. But I've been hearing shit been a little shaky for Keyshawn Davis and the Nahir Albright fight. Now, this ain't a shot towards Nahir Albright at all because at the end of the day, he's coming in on the B side, and this is not his hometown. You know what I'm saying? So I'm never going to shit on Nahir Albright for not selling tickets when, for one, he's not the A side. He's not the star between the two. And two, he's not in Philadelphia. He's not in New Jersey. He's in Norfolk, Virginia. So all of this shit basically falls on Keyshawn Davis's back. Now, let's take a look at this shit right here because I had a feeling that this shit was capped, but just looking at the official website and Ticketmaster, holy shit, you got a whole lot of tickets available, y'all. And it's the thing, the fight is 4 days away. So I don't know. It says no seats available. I don't know if it's because this is sold out, but it doesn't look like it was sold out. It looks like it was just shut down. That's what it looks like to me. Like they're not even offering these tickets because they don't expect that many people to be here. Now, looking at these tickets, you can get a ticket as low as $62 for this fight. So if y'all in Norfolk, y'all motherfuckers want to get some nosebleeds or whatever the case is, y'all can go ahead and get y'all a little good deal. But look, I'm looking at these tickets. This side is sold out right here. Oh, okay, so they only have the handicap available. You know what I mean? Let's go back to this. But man, that is a whole lot of tickets, bro. The tickets is dumb cheap too. You could get you a fucking floor seat for not even $400. That is crazy. That is crazy. But anyways, I'm seeing some people confused as to why these fight tickets not selling. I'm seeing tweets like, half of the arena seems to be empty. Now, Pound for Pound wrote this on Twitter. Half of the arena seems to be empty for Keyshawn versus Nahir Albright fight this Saturday in Norfolk, Virginia, Keyshawn's hometown. Why is this fight struggling to sell tickets? Why is this fight? I'm going to ask y'all, why is this fight struggling to sell tickets? I feel like, and I'm not saying that, he's being, dumb for answering this question. It's a good question. Why is this fight struggling to sell tickets? Pretty fucking obvious why. To me. Exactly, Sam. Thank you. Beautiful response. People don't see. Look, I'm gonna say this. First of all, them people ain't forget what Keyshawn put them through the last time he tried to fight over there. You know what I mean? I don't know who runs the pound for pound page. It's not really my business. You know what I mean? I don't know. I know that he always say positive shit to me. He followed me on Twitter. I don't got nothing negative to say about dude. He ain't never say nothing about me. Feel me? So I don't really be knowing too much. But I mean, he did put out some factual information. And he asked a legit question. Why is this fight struggling to sell tickets? And the reason why is because of what the fuck he did the last time that he was supposed to fight in Norfolk, Virginia against Edwin De Los Santos. Do we have to revisit that? Fuck it, let's do it because Keyshawn still deserves to be embarrassed from this situation. Keyshawn Davis was supposed to fight Edwin De Los Santos. Edwin De Los Santos coming off of inactivity, blood clots, life-threatening injuries and shit like that, and cuts down and sacrifices to make the weight. It looks like a dead man on that fucking scale. Meanwhile, Keyshawn Davis took it upon himself to, purposely, in my opinion, miss weight for the fight. and admit the alcoholism in the lead up to the fight and all of that good shit, right? So instead of attempting to cut the weight, Keyshawn Davis refuses to cut the weight. The fight is called off due to Edwin De Los Santos' team noticing that Keyshawn Davis is trying to get one up on them. They ain't going for the bullshit. They walk away. So what does Keyshawn Davis do? As a result of that, he lets his home city down, his hometown down. He did everybody in Norfolk dirty. We got to take into consideration Michael Vick was there. Allen Iverson, from what I heard, was there, or at least they planned on showing up. And what do we see? We see Keyshawn Davis in the crowd when he's supposed to be in the fucking ring, laughing, joking, smiling, eating popcorn in front of the people's face. Eating popcorn in front of the people's face. That's what Keyshawn was doing. Not only that, but your brother gets his ass whooped in his hometown by Nahir Albright. And when you should be apologetic and regretful for the moves that you had just made less than 24 hours prior to that, you get emotional because your brother gets his ass whooped, and you start a physical confrontation with Nahir Albright when he's trying to celebrate his victory. You think that them people from Norfolk ain't hear about none of this shit? You think that they still was gonna support you after you let them down like that? This right here is exactly why you should remain a professional at all times. Now, these ticket sales may go through the roof in the next couple days. I don't fucking know, but it's not looking good. It looks like half of the arena is available. It look like they purposely closed off one side of the arena, and the other half of the arena, all of the tickets look like they're available. Like, look at this shit, bro. Look. 78 tickets available over here. 100 plus tickets available over here. 100 plus, 98, 70, 53, 80, 78, it's 92. Do I have to keep going? This motherfucker ain't sell shit yet. It look like his family ain't even buy tickets yet. What the fuck going on with this whole fight? But this is the reality. Yeah, there's still floor seats. Look, I'll show you. Look at this. 22 tickets available. 10 tickets available. 18, 22, 17, 17. Come on, man. Keyshawn proved to be unreliable. He proved to be unprofessional. He proven to be unreliable. So why the fuck would people who I'm sure spent their hard-earned money to come out and watch you fight reinvest in your career when you let them down? And you know what I mean? They probably couldn't even get their money back. They probably got burnt out of their bread. Now they gotta sit there and watch motherfuckers that they don't even want to see in the first place. They specifically came out to see you. And here you go, and you drop a fucking dud, you lay a fucking egg in front of the people. Low key showed that you a coward, to be honest with you, because you had a fight coming up against Edwin De Los Santos. You purposely missed weight and then admitted to abusing liquor the whole training camp. Why would you abuse liquor the whole training camp when you got Edwin De Los Santos in front of you? It's almost like he was looking for a reason to get out of the fight in itself. But regardless, you've proven to be unreliable. You're not trustworthy. You feel what I'm saying? And the people gonna let you know that. There's only some motherfuckers got a one strike and you out policy. As soon as you do some fuck shit, you cut. And this may very well what probably happened with Keyshawn Davis after that Norfolk incident, and that card that he was supposed to fight Edwin De Los Santos. My boy Slime said on top of all of that, the week before you was talking shit to a kid who not only did the main event in your hometown, but has your belt currently. Facts. He was over here talking shit to Abdullah. Let's keep it real. Keyshawn be fucking with Abdullah because Abdullah not the boy who really say anything back or, really get grimy with you or none of that shit. You picking on Abdullah Mason low key because you probably hating on the nigga. You know what I mean? Just like how you hate on a lot of niggas who got supportive fathers and shit like that. You know what I mean? You're very envious of dudes who have active fathers in their life. So you probably be a nigga to not like me. Wouldn't be surprised at all. But you picking on Abdullah Mason, you talking about the chocolate fight next and shit like that. Whole time, you ain't even make the weight. You got stripped of your belt. Abdullah ended up getting that belt after the fact, taking advantage of something that you took for granted. And now every moment you get around Abdullah, you don't know how to act. Oh man, why can't we fight next? Why can't we fight next, bro? Y'all not even in the same weight class no more. Knock it off. Why don't you go ahead that same energy for Shakur Stevenson, who took a big fight off of your hands with Teofimo Lopez? You know what I mean? And then young boyed you by telling you that when I win the belt, I'm gonna vacate it and then just have you fight for it. The fuck? So, I mean, they ain't got nothing to do with these ticket sales, but this shit right here, this is a super bad job. I'm not gonna lie to you. Maybe these ticket sales will change within the next 72 hours, but this shit ain't looking good, y'all. This shit ain't looking good, bro. This is terrible. I would be pissed if I was top ranked with these ticket sales. You know what I mean? Absolutely insane. And plus, it's not the biggest fight to be made for Keyshawn either. I think that's what hurts him too. You over here calling out top guys like fucking, Devin Haney. You talking shit about Lewis Crocker, who's the IBF welterweight champ. You talking about you going up to 47. You know what I mean? Just for you to rematch Nahir Albright. So it's like, why you acting like you chasing these fights, but behind the scenes you inking, you signing contracts for fights that nobody gives a fuck about. No disrespect to Nahir Albright. I mean, I hope he could pull it off. It'd be dope to see him pull it off the win against Keyshawn. But ain't nobody really be talking about Nahir. Nahir ain't nobody. Trick said, didn't Keyshawn get the key to the city that same week? Shit, I think they named the day after him. I think they gave him a key and were like, oh, this date is officially going to be Keyshawn Davis Day or some shit like that. Like, damn. North folks showing you love and you just told them niggas to eat a dick. That's basically what you told them. No, we finally got somebody who, could be a star from out of our city. Let's go out to the fights and support him. They go and they spend crazy. Shit, tickets are not cheap, y'all. You know what I mean? So let's say, for instance, back then, each ticket was $400. You got to spend, and you bring the wifey, a best friend with you, you got to spend $800. You got to pay close to a stack to sit down and watch a nigga rumble. I'm sure a few people did that, and then once it got announced that Keyshawn didn't even fight, they like, what the fuck am I here for then? I ain't come to watch Abdullah Mason. Who the fuck is the time? Ain't nobody know who the fuck Abdullah Mason was, all like that. Who the fuck is this nigga? Embarrassing. So I think that this right here is a product of his unprofessionalism, his lack of notable names as an opponent, and people not forgetting how the way you made them feel. If you ever got fucked over in your life, you may forget about a lot of things. You never gonna forget how you felt in that moment. I'm sure y'all guys remember y'all first heartbreak. I'm sure y'all remember, this, being in the state of shock. I'm sure you remember times where you were disrespected as a kid and you felt the pain behind that disrespect. People always gonna remember how you make them feel. And Keyshawn made a lot of them motherfuckers feel disappointed, sad, and or maybe even angry. And what probably hurt his relationship with Norfolk too is that he took months to to apologize for that incident. Which lets me know he's not truly remorseful about anything. If it take you months to apologize to somebody when you were clearly in the wrong, you don't really give a fuck about apologizing. You don't really care. Yeah, Iverson and Michael Vick came out. Two Philly legends. I know they're from Virginia, but two Philly legends. Nigga, I wouldn't be surprised. Chris Brown from out motherfucking Virginia. I'm surprised he ain't pop up. You let all them niggas down. The odds are insane for Keyshawn versus Nahir Albright. Key and minus 1450 favorite. God damn. 14-1 favorite. Shit. To be honest, I can see why. I think Keyshawn gonna stop Nahir this time. To be honest, I think he gonna stop him. I think Keyshawn hit a whole new level since that first fight. And I think with Nahir, and I said the same shit about him and Frank Martin, but I do think Keyshawn's better than Frank Martin. Um, just based off of what I've seen and shit like that, how the way he performs against certain guys. I could see Nair getting reckless and running into a good shot. Kind of like on that Kell Brook, Terrence Crawford shit. When Terrence Crawford, Kell Brook was stepping in, and as he was stepping in, he just ran him into the jab and completely hurt him. Yeah, I think Keyshawn gonna beat Nair, but shit, that shit going that shit gonna sound like the back when they had the bubble with COVID. You can hear every punch and shit. That shit gonna be quiet as fuck in that John. Ain't no tickets gonna be sold. You gonna hear my motherfuckers screaming from a mile away, from all the way up the nosebleeds. Get him, Keyshawn. Them bells about those seats about to be empty as shit behind Keyshawn and Nair when they rumbling. Yeah, Bomac was definitely apologizing on Keyshawn Davis's part because they knew he was in the wrong. And I don't think it's coincidental that Keyshawn left them niggas after that. Keyshawn a real emotional motherfucker, man. He said I'm gonna be the only nigga there and I ain't even going. That's crazy. And he looked like he sold tickets. The one time when I think Keyshawn fought Baranchek. And when did Keyshawn fought? He fought in his hometown before. Was that against Baranchek? Nah. He fought Lamos when he knocked out Lamos at Norfolk. Looked like he sold some tickets. Looked like he sold some tickets. So definitely something changed between then and now. And we already know what it is. That's just the people letting Keyshawn know that, bro, we ain't forget about that bullshit. We can't trust you. So why would we spend our hard-earned money if you can't guarantee that you're gonna show up? Interesting. But like I said, there's some time. Do I think that much have changed between now and Saturday? No. But what do I know? Slime, uh I don't think he's unknown by his people. I don't think it's him not having no clout in his city. What it is they know who the fuck he is. He showed them how unprofessional he was. So they don't want to do business with him no more. Why would you deal with a barber who's always 3 hours late for your haircuts? You're not gonna want to do business with them no more because they're not attending to your needs. Man, same shit goes for Keyshawn. How the fuck would these motherfuckers give you money to watch you fight when the last time we paid money to see you, you didn't fight. You was in the crowd with us. When you were supposed to be fighting, you became a spectator. And people don't forget that shit, man. People don't forget feeling disappointed. That's what it come down to. You know what I mean? Y'all got any last questions before I get up out of here, though? Let me know, man. I'm about to go lay down with my son and call it a day. Mind you, my son got his own room. He got his own bed, but he insists that he sleep with me. So what I do is I let him get knocked out, carry him over to his room, and I'm sleeping in his bed, man. He love his bed. I just don't think he is okay with fully going to sleep unless I'm there. It's crazy. It's Karen Chuka's fight week. Uh, he's fighting Patty Donovan. Shout out to my nigga Karen, bro. I hope Karen whoop Patty Donovan ass. I mean, I hope he become a mandatory again for the IBF so Lewis Crocker could fight him. You know, when y'all see Karen fuck Lewis Crocker up, he become world champion, then y'all niggas gonna be kissing ass. Imagine that shit. Imagine Karen go ahead and he wash Patty Donovan or whatever the case is. He become the #1 guy for the IBF again. You know I mean, him and Lewis Crocker go to a purse bid, they fight, and this nigga Karen fuck Lewis Crocker up. Yeah, I seen that anonymous Roach versus Cepeda supposed to be in August. That's a good fight, man. That's a great fight. I think stylistically that's gonna be a banger. And shout out to Roach for fighting all these top guys consecutively because you know a lot of guys ain't doing that. So you gotta commend Roach for his courageousness. I do think that this is a tough stuff, and I'm not saying that Cepeda's more skilled than Roach because that would be a lie. I think that Roach is a much better fighter, but stylistically, Roach's flaws play in the way of Cepeda's game very well. I watch Crocker clips, and you saying kind of it's almost how to disrespect. You think Lewis Crocker is good? I think he got some sneaky counters. I think he got a little bit of pop, but I don't know. I think Conor Ben could give him a run for his money, but it don't matter anyway because Conor ducked him. Conor Ben ain't want to fight him. He had the opportunity to fight Lewis Crocker. He had the opportunity to fight Lewis Crocker. He had the opportunity to fight Josh Kelly, and there was somebody else that he was supposed to that he could have fought. He turned it down too. Who was the other guy he turned down? Eddie Hearn said he turned down Josh Kelly. He turned down Lewis Crocker. There was somebody else. And Rolly. Yeah, Ralph. He turned down Rolly. Connor's a duck, so fuck him. If he do fight Lewis Crocker, I hope Lewis Crocker fuck him up bad. I will never root for Conor Ben. I don't give a fuck who he fight. I will never root for him. I don't like him. I forgot what I was talking about. Oh yeah, I do think that Roach has some bad habits that could play to Moise Cepeda's advantages. And one of my biggest criticisms about Lamar Roach, and this is why I was able to call his last fight against Isaac Cruz a draw, is because he fights to the level of his opponent. It's almost like he mimics his opponents in there. Like I remember watching the Tank fight, and Tank a lead with some shit. He'll throw like 2 punches, Roach throw 2 punches. Tank will throw 3 punches, he'll throw 3 punches. Tank throw 4 punches, he throw 4 punches. It's like he literally mimics whatever his opponent is doing. And it's like you're making it even because you're keeping up with them. You're pretty much mimicking them, but you're not taking it a step above what you should. So if the guy you're fighting is on 2nd gear, you need to be on the 3rd gear. When they get to the 3rd, you need to get to the 4th. You need to be on a different level than these guys. Right? And I feel like Lamont, he's at wherever you at. He doesn't go a step above, he doesn't go a step below. Hence why he's been running into these draws back to back. Pause. Talk about decisions. That's why he's got 2 back-to-back draws on his resume. Right? Moise Cepeda is somebody who does not stop throwing punches. He's one of the most active fighters in the sport of boxing today. Gave Shakur a run for his money. Gave him a tough fight. And this is somebody who's, considered to be a defensive specialist, a good counter puncher, an accurate puncher. Shakur had to really buckle down and get with William Cepeda in order to defeat him. That speaks volumes to who William Cepeda is. He's a very difficult style to come across. And when I was watching Lamar Roach and Isaac Cruz fight, I'm seeing Isaac Cruz throw 6-7 punch combinations, and Lamont is reacting defensively, but is not letting his hands go. He's shelling up. And the Isaac land punches that was clean in them sequences, not really. But the problem is, let's say, for instance, we boxing, right? And I don't get touched by a single punch from you. And you probably threw 20 punches. You ain't laying a single one. But if I didn't throw anything, They're gonna get that round to him because guess what? Even though he didn't land clean on you, he was more busy than you. And I see Eastside Cruz steal some rounds because of that, man. And Lamont needs to get into this thing where he's boxing more. Remember when Bill Haney told him, do the Devin Haney, do the Devin Haney. Everybody was laughing and shit like that, but Bill was giving some sound advice. Stop trying to bang with these motherfuckers. Stop trying to sit in the pocket with them. That's why you got dropped against Eastside Cruz. You know what I mean? Stop trying to bang with them. Stop trying to sit in the pocket, fight on the inside. Bro, box these niggas. Lamont Rhodes is a talented enough fighter to box these niggas and win. He is that skilled. But for some reason, he just loved to fight. And this whole tendency of him just wanting to bang and, fight these aggressive fighters on the inside, try to push them back to prove that you macho, bro, you ain't never going to get these signature wins with that mentality. And Mazuma, can you check out Ray and Shock is selling? Sure. That's going to be the last thing I'll do before I get up out of here, man. So, like they sold some shit. They said they doing all right. They selling all right, but it looks like it's a smaller venue than the joint in Norfolk. But look at this shit. Man, that's some good ticket prices, though. I ain't gonna lie. 162, 175, 155. Look at that. Look, they got minimal tickets left on the floor. This side sold out. This all sold out back here. All sold out. Look at that. They selling something. They doing something. 106 about to be sold out. CO4 so almost sold out. These floor seats, they all about to be sold out. They doing all right. I'm on Ticketmaster. Al. Not bad. Not bad. Definitely got less availability than Nahir Albright fight with Keyshawn. Like I said, this ain't no shot at Nahir, man. You know what I mean? This is in Keyshawn hometown. He the A-side. This shit solely falls on him to sub. All Nahir got to do is come out and fight. That's all he got to do. Interesting. Very, very interesting. But, Keyshawn Davis, man, that's how I'm going to wrap it up. Keyshawn Davis, man, learn to be, you got to get them people trust back, man. So hopefully you stay on the right path. Hopefully you put on a good performance in this fight with Nahir Albright. That's the only way you're going to get back into people's good graces, man. You on a shit list right now. You took forever to apologize. You come across as unreliable. You came very unprofessional. You know what I mean? Which is ironic because, with your name being the businessman, you would think that you would be professional, but unfortunately you haven't shown to be. And people never forget how you make them feel. Always remember that, people. If you ain't learned nothing from this live today, always remember that they may forget words, they may forget things that you've done for them, but they never forget how you make them feel in a positive or a negative way. Nahir Albright, sorry, not Nahir. Shout out Nahir. Keyshawn Davis made the people feel disrespected, disappointed, and angry based off his irresponsible actions. He said, no, Tank fans forget. Well, they're delusional in their yes men. That's not, that's a different situation. What I'm talking about is that people that came from Norfolk or around the area came out because when he had fought Lemos over there, it was lit. So they was looking forward to have another situation like that just for you to blindside them and disappoint them with fuckery. So this shit that not these tickets, but the tickets that we saw prior to this, with all of those available seats looking like they ain't sold a single ticket yet. That's what happens when you don't move correctly, and that's what happens when you don't put the fans first. You don't put the fans first, you're gonna have these type of results. You know what I mean? So that's my take on the whole situation, man. I appreciate you guys that came out and show love as always. If y'all could go ahead and hit the like button on the way out, that'd be very much appreciated. Like I said, we're on the road to 4K. We want to the 3,500 mark. About to hit that 3,600 mark in due time. Shout out to the nation and the mob for making this possible. I'll be back at y'all with another live, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow to continue cooking up on what's going on in the boxing world, man. Until then, hope you guys have a blessed, beautiful one. I'm up out of here, man. Peace.